Story 1, I never planned to enter that house. I was simply walking through the forest, filming a few shots, when I spotted an old wooden cabin hidden between the trees. It wasn't marked on any map I'd ever seen. It looked abandoned for decades, yet its front door was wide open. At first I hesitated, but curiosity got the better of me. The moment I stepped inside, the air became unnaturally cold. The silence was overwhelming, as if the entire forest had stopped breathing. I slowly explored the rooms. Everything was covered in dust, except for one thing: a rocking chair in the corner of the living room. It was moving, slowly, as if someone had just stood up a few seconds earlier. I tried to convince myself it was the wind, but every window was closed. Then I heard footsteps above me. Someone was walking across the second floor. I called out, but no one answered. I climbed the stairs carefully. With every step I took, another step echoed above me. When I reached the second floor, the footsteps stopped. I opened the first room. Empty. The second room, also empty. The third room contained only a large mirror. I walked toward it and looked at my reflection. That's when my blood froze. My reflection wasn't copying my movements. I was standing still. But it was smiling. I turned and ran toward the front door. Just before I reached it, I heard a calm voice behind me whisper, "Why are you leaving when you just arrived?" I never looked back. Story 2. I was driving late at night when I took a wrong turn and found myself deep inside a forest I had never seen before. There was no phone signal, no street lights, no signs of civilization, except for one old house with lights glowing inside. It didn't make any sense. Who would live in a place like this? I knocked on the door. An elderly man opened it and smiled. "You look lost," he said. "Come inside." I thanked him and stepped in. The house was warm and welcoming. The smell of freshly cooked food filled the air, but something felt wrong. There wasn't a single sound. No clock ticking, no wind, not even the sound of breathing. After a few minutes, I decided to leave. I opened the front door. The forest was gone. Instead, there was a long hallway stretching into darkness. I slammed the door shut and opened it again. The hallway was still there. I ran through room after room. Every door led somewhere different. Yet somehow, every path brought me back to the same living room. The old man had disappeared. In his place hung an old family photograph. I stepped closer. The picture looked at least 50 years old. Then I noticed something that made my heart stop. I was standing in the photograph, smiling beside the family. The lights suddenly went out. And to this day, I'm still not sure I ever escaped that house. Story 3. There is something I've never told anyone. Years ago, while exploring a remote forest, I discovered a small abandoned house hidden among the trees. Every door was locked, except one, a door leading down into the basement. I had no reason to go down there, but I did. With every step I took, the air grew colder. At the bottom of the stairs stood an old iron door. Scratched into the metal were 2 words: "Do not open." I stood there for several minutes. Then I unlocked it. The room beyond was empty. No furniture, no windows. Only a single chair in the center. Someone was sitting in it. Their back was facing me. I thought they were dead. I slowly walked closer. Just before I reached them, a quiet voice said, "You took a long time." I froze. The chair began turning toward me, slowly, very slowly. I didn't wait to see the face. I ran out of the basement, out of the house, out of the forest. Since that night, every morning at exactly 3 a.m., I hear 3 slow knocks on my bedroom door. Whenever I look through the peephole, no one is there. But I always hear the same voice whisper, "This time, you open the door." Story 4. I only entered the forest because I wanted a shortcut. It was getting dark, but according to the map, I could save almost an hour if I walked straight through it. At first, everything seemed normal. The wind was calm. The trees barely moved. The only sound I could hear was my own footsteps. Then I noticed something strange. No matter how many times I stopped walking, I could still hear footsteps behind me, slow, heavy, always matching my pace. I turned around. Nothing, just endless trees. I kept telling myself it was my imagination. But after another few minutes, I heard them again, closer this time. I started walking faster. The footsteps did the same. Then I ran, they ran too. I never saw who or what was chasing me. When I finally reached my car, I slammed the door shut and locked it. I looked into the rear view mirror. The forest was empty. I laughed, thinking I had imagined everything. Then I noticed muddy footprints on the roof of my car, as if something had been standing above me the entire time. Even now, whenever I wake up in the middle of the night, I sometimes hear footsteps walking across my ceiling. Story 5. I had been hiking for nearly 3 hours when I realized I was lost. My phone had no signal. My GPS had stopped working. The sun was already setting. Then I saw a small wooden cabin hidden deep between the trees. It looked old, but smoke was rising from the chimney. I knocked on the door. No answer. So I pushed it open. Inside, everything was clean. A fire was burning in the fireplace. A cup of coffee was still warm. Someone had been there just moments before. I called out several times. Nothing. Then I noticed dozens of framed photographs hanging on one wall. Every picture showed a different lost hiker. Some photos looked decades old. Others looked recent. Then I found the last frame. It was empty. As I stared at it, I heard a camera shutter click behind me. I turned around. No one was there. When I looked back at the wall, the empty frame was no longer empty. It contained a photograph of me, standing exactly where I was. Story 6. Everyone says forests are full of sounds, birds, insects, the wind. But one afternoon, I entered a forest where everything suddenly became silent. Not quiet. Silent. It was as if someone had erased every sound from the world. Even my own footsteps made no noise. I tried speaking. I couldn't hear my own voice. Panic started to set in. Then I saw people standing between the trees. They weren't moving. They weren't blinking. They were just staring at me. I waved. None of them reacted. I kept walking, hoping to find the way out. Every few minutes I saw them again, always closer, always watching. Finally, I reached the edge of the forest. The moment I stepped outside, every sound returned at once. Birds, wind, my own breathing. I looked back one last time. The people were gone, or so I thought. That night, I checked the photos I'd taken inside the forest. Every single picture showed me walking alone, except the last one. In the distance, standing behind me, was someone holding the camera. These are stories inspired by real hiker folklore and wilderness disappearance legends. If these stories affected you, subscribe for more. And if you have a story of your own, send it to me. It might be the next one I share.